Probably one of the most important things in Exanima is movement, because the movement affects defense and offense. I'll explain more of that later, I guess, but yeah, probably one of the first things you want to get down is getting used to the camera and like moving around. Since when you look at your character like this, WASD, you can follow along if you want, but it's very, it's like normal. But when you flip the camera like this, S will still move you backwards, even though you're facing this way, and for, when you start now, it'll disorientate you to get used to it. Arena, you go through this door here, and you can, because what you see a lot of people do is that they mash V all the time doing this, trying to keep their camera straight, and you spend a lot of time just mashing the button, and you don't want to really do that. Because when you're like behind someone, you can like see gaps in them and stuff, like gaps in their like defense. You can like come around, get a left side swing, stuff like that. Yeah, movement's really important in this game, because it's probably your best defense, if anything. So more about movement. There's like two basic ways in combat, at least, to move. There's tapping a key to do little steps like that, and then holding it. Now, what will take time when you're fighting people, over time you will get to learn like the because it's better for you to you can't just like watch me explain it all and then know everything. You got to go in there and try it yourself, but you'll get a better like idea of like the length of weapons and how far you need to walk back, if you need to do a little or a big, and then like if you need to come back in for your attack with a little or a big. Because say if I do this and then I just like walk up, I end up like I still hit it, but I would have done more damage because I walked up. I ended up clinching. That's another thing to keep in mind. I'll get more on that into when I explain attacking, but this is just for basic movement. So just practice this whole meme, getting used to the camera. Like there's times, because there's arenas, well, in the arena like this, where you'll be pushed up, not really against a wall, but like just before a wall, and it kind of covers your screen, so you can like move like this and then fix it with V. You can use middle mouse to the orbit camera. Also, a thing to keep in mind with movement in this game, let me see if I can find an item. Since objects in this game all have their own like collision, imagine something like Gary's spot, if you don't know. You can run and I didn't trip there when I'm trying to show it, but you can and will trip on like bodies and clutter if you're like, say if you're trying to fight people in a room that's got like a lot of clutter. So you don't really want to back into clutter, because like that. You can trip and fall, and then you can get attacks on you, so you want to be mindful of what's around you as well. Little things like, but you can also use that to your advantage as well. You can dodge around stuff like that and then let them come for you, or you can pick stuff up mid-fight, a bit risky, but you can do it, and put objects down. There's a certain arena that has a bunch of tables in a tavern, and has a lot of that, and it's kind of funny. Oh yeah, and something I should say as well, I'll probably get into this in the like more combat oriented ones, but balance, because all these stats like obviously mean something, and balance is obviously balance. It's like when I was doing that, you see how my guy like fell over. See if I can try get it to happen, but what's he done now? Yeah, balance is important for two-handed weapons. If you're like doing crazy fucking swings and like crouching and shit. So in Exanima, there's quite a few attacks that you have a part of your basic kit with no skills. You don't need none of these skills. So when you're in combat mode with tab, you will have this cursor, and your character will swing wherever the cursor is like aiming, like that. So we're at a decent distance, and if you just hold left click, you will just do a swing from the right. Unless you have Remise, which is basically that's like the first one you want to pick up when you make an arena character anyway. But you will just do 2 swings if you have Remise. So this right click is just your swing, just like your normal right hand swing. And you can do like thrusts with holding Alt and then left click. Like that. Can also do just a click for a feint. So you can trick people out and then maybe come out like that, or you can go like, or maybe an overhead with then a thrust or something. You decide what you like, you see what works. There's also an overhead, which is 2 clicks and then hold. Or you can like click and hold. But I like doing 2 clicks, sounds nicer. Now, as you can imagine, overheads are harder to hit, but if you can aim them, do more damage. You're hitting in the head, unless you got like a helmet. Unless I kind of like it. This is also where the stats play into things as well, but that'll be explained later. Basically, what you want to get down is just like right and left swings. Oh yeah, and left swings in this game come from the left side of the screen, because if you put it like up here and then you swing, it'll be a right swing. If you put it like over here, it'll be a right swing. If you put it like here, then it'll start to be a left. But the best way to do it is to, you can practice this, cursor on the head, and like, say with this here, I like to imagine that from the top, there's a really good picture on Steam actually that I could probably like overlay it. Just like an angle out from like where the foot is facing. That's the best way to like determine where to put the cursor. You'll get it, but I like to put it like around here and then do it like that. And then drag it over, obviously. Like this. So you imagine that the foot, you put it like just to the left of the foot, of the leading foot that is, the front left foot, and then you drag it back. So a lot of people get confused about that one. They'll like turn too much, because there is a fine zone that you need to have it, and it's like here somewhere. But if you go too far back, your character will keep trying to look at the cursor and you'll turn. So you need to either do it quick and like kind of turn into your attack to do more damage, or get it in the right zone. But you'll figure it out as you go along. Just practice doing like movement with these, like thrusting, like going back and then going forward to get more damage on the thrusts, and then overheads, going around, you know, just incorporate in the basic attacks into the movement that you're using. Alright, so you can see I'm using movement to, because space, like, because another thing about the combat is blocking, and you can't really show that with targets who don't attack you. So I kind of get into a fight here, but you'll see when this guy swings, he still hits me there, because if you can block something, it's determined by what, like the weapon, how they swung, and like the physics of it basically. But you'll see my guy, when he's not attacking, when you're not clicking or anything, he'll automatically and always, until you start attacking, will be trying to defend himself. There are a few skills that kind of like change this, like with shields, where you'll start defending when you attack with shields, but we'll talk about that later on, I guess. But yeah, the best way to defend yourself is definitely with movement, trying to just evade attacks like this. And my guy, you will see that my guy will always try to defend. Now the best way I found is just like keeping the cursor on the weapon is like your best hope of trying to defend something. You know, get tricky sometimes. So it's like just focus. Don't try to rely on blocks. Try to rely on you being able to move away from the attack. Blocked it a few times there, but I can't. Like, I'll do one attack and this guy will probably fucking die. But you can see that you can incorporate movement and like move around him and get attacks in. I want to showcase something else. So since all the weapons have like certain lengths, when you push into someone, so when you walk into someone, you'll probably do this a lot when you're starting out, you won't be able to swing. It will make a rife mess just like it did. What the fuck, how terrible. Get off from there. Right. Yeah, you'll push into someone and you'll be clinched like this and you won't be able to swing, or when you swing it'll like do nothing. I mean, still kind of did a little bit of damage, I guess, but yeah, you'll be clinched and you'll hit with the wrong part of your weapon. Because to do damage, you need to hit with the right part of the weapon. And I'll explain that like the armor and when I go to the armor and the weapons, stuff like that. Which I'll probably do next, and then I'll go on other stuff. But yeah, you want to be mindful of the range that your weapon has and like attack according to that range, if you get what I'm saying. You don't want to be right in their face and attack, say, in something like, I don't know, For Honor or whatever, where you can be like right in front of them, or like I think even in like Mordhau and stuff, how we can go like right in front of them and then like attack with a great sword and like do a dead angle swing or a drag and like hit it behind them, all this weird stuff. But I might be wrong about that, so don't, like, For Honor for sure, because I play that shit ton. You can like be right in someone's face with a fucking pole axe and just be able to hit it. But in this, you need to be mindful of the range, so keep that in mind. That right there was me like walking into them and then knocking them over and then getting an overhead. If someone's on the ground like that, you want to crouch into your overhead swing. And aiming the overheads is a little bit finicky sometimes, because you can see it doesn't always go where the cursor is. You kind of got to learn how to aim, and it's odd, especially if people on the ground. But you'll get used to it with time and practice with all things. Rightio, so now we're on to the weapons and armor part, which I probably need to showcase a little bit, I feel. So as you can see on screen, this isn't all the weapons in the game, this is just a handful. The game is like procedural generation for weapons, so you can get like random weapons, different combinations, all this and that. Very good stuff. But this is just to give you an idea of what's in the game. There's like swords, axes, flails, even hammers, maces, sickles. There's a lot of stuff, and it all varies. Like if you're in the dungeon crawler, it depends on the area you're in of what you'll find. And this is the tier of the fighter that you have. I have these divided by two-handed on the right and then one-handed on the left. And okay, let's take a look at this sword here. This great sword right here. You can see it has a slash of 4.5, a thrust of 3.5, it has free balance, free impact, and you can see the weight, and you can see the rank that is required for your fighter to use it, and the points that it'll take up in the manage thing, but we'll get into that and I'll talk about the arena. You can see like a basic description here. Enforced condition. How you bring this up is you double click on the weapon, just like that. 2 clicks brings it up. Now if we compare something like a Warhammer here, both in flawless condition, and we can drag these on top of each other to kind of like line it up and compare, but you can see it has more impact because it has the hammer. It has less balance because the weight isn't distributed evenly, and it has 4 crush. You can see it's a novice weapon, 3 points. And what I'll just get rid of this here for a second. What this symbol means here is that you can obviously flip the weapon around and use the other side of it, and it'll give you the stats for the other side, which has 4 pierce. So if you have something like a guy in plate armor, for example, a good way to use this, a guy in plate armor, and then you have someone that doesn't have armor, you would use the hammerhead bit for the crush, because I believe crush is the best against metal armor. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, crush is, it has the least amount of crush defense, which I mean, you can imagine, right? And then when you have someone with like no armor, you can still use this crush head for sure, but you'd probably do more damage, I imagine. Actually, it's kind of 2.2, 2.5. So you'd still be better off using this, but like it also kind of depends on the gear they got as well. But say in a weapon where it's like, I guess, more even, it'd be fine using whatever. Yeah, the other side is usually weaker, I guess, because it's not the main part of the weapon. But it still has its uses. As you can, since this part here is fully rendered, you could use this as like a kind of like a mini hook if you get it behind someone's leg and like sweep them. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do. For every weapon in the game, there's stats aligned to it that should represent the weapon. So if we look at this pole axe here, it has impact, balance, slash, and crush. And then we say we look at this short sword, it has impact, balance, slash, and thrust. We look at this mace, it has impact, balance, crush, pierce, and thrust. Balance isn't an attack stat, it's more so, well, obviously just your balance of your weapon. It also shows the weight of weapons. Impact, balance, slash, crush, and then the other side has pierce. So you can see how all the stats represent the weapon. Because like say this saw here has impact, slash, and thrust, but it doesn't have crush because it doesn't have like a hammer like this, where this is crush. So what I have here is my arsenal with all my gear in it. You can see I've got different tier of weapons, and an important thing about this game is obviously the armor. So if we have a look at one of my, let's take this guy. We'll go and manage him and we'll go look at him. So just under this basic Indepth fighter, we have a few things going on. We just have the first layer, which is this leather shirt, like this, and then we have a coat on top. Now the coat shows its coverage, its slash, and obviously its points for the arena mode. And then this thick shirt shows its coverage and its like slash defense, for example. And then aspirant, you've got another vest, and you can kind of see how it is adding layers to. Like this guy's got leather body armor now, and you can see its impact, and this will all stack on top of each other. So layering up is important, and especially what you layer up with, like so say Gamson. If we say, take a look at plate armor here, for example, my guy decked out in plate armor, we can see that he has all the plate pieces, and that helmet, so that looks nice. But under this, if we take it off, he still has the coat, he has a padded arming cap, he has chainmail leggings, he has like these padded cloth leggings, and then under the coat he has chainmail, then he has a gamson, and then he's down to his like chest. So he has a lot of layers on, he has a lot, all layers, if you will. The layering of your character is important. You got to keep all that wooden package under there safe, if you get what I'm saying. You got to keep it safe. You keep him all nice and cozy in there. Because, say if he hits with this weapon, and it does a lot of impacts, like 4.5 impact. This thing has 4.5 impact on the gloves. This has like 5.5, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 5.5 impact, like resistance. So it'll do less damage, basically. You can kind of get at that. the head has 4.5. This is 4.5. You'll still take damage. It's not like play armor makes you invincible. Someone could come in with a metal pole, and if you just stand there and let them, they can kill you. Like this metal bar here, 4.5 impact. So armor doesn't make you invincible. It's a good thing to say. It doesn't make you invincible. It just makes you not die as much. Obviously. So what I have here is when you first start a company in the arena. Let's say I call it Orc Feeder. You can change all the backgrounds however you want. Doesn't really matter. Let's just literally randomize it. Like, oh yeah, little bird. I like that little bird guy. We can make him green like a bird. Yeah, look at that. I'm gonna make the sky blue. Little bird out in the blue sky. Look at that. Nice little bird. Put a space here, I reckon. It's only right. Go on to the next. And we'll be greeted with this. Now, character customization does kind of like matter in the game. I would say it's probably best to just leave it default or like tall and muscular. So you can make him muscular, taller. Oh, that's the bridge. Height, taller, like that. But this is the company manager you're making, so it doesn't really matter. So you can just make him a short little dude. Call him Tyler 1. Next, give him a mad little outfit. Now you don't really want to use this guy for fighting. You don't want to use your company manager for fighting, only for fist fight. So, you kind of just like take whatever you want. Like you can use him for fighting, but if he dies, if he fully dies, he loses the entire company with him. Your save will be gone. Once you load in, you'll be greeted with this, and now this is basically just the main lobby, I guess you could imagine, where you'll like manage your fighter's gear. You'll choose the fights that you want to do, you'll buy gear, etc. So this guy here, you just click on him. He's just a merchant. Someone's fucking hooning it outside. But yeah, he's just a merchant. If you click on the gear, you'll see that it's expert level and it has a price. You keep that in mind. But there's basic gear here. Now, you can just buy stuff through here, but if you're looking for certain things, you can buy a merchant later on. I'll show you that. But to the left of us, we have a like managed company kind of board, and it shows you the report of the day. It shows you your income, so money earned, money spent, upkeep. There's none at the moment. You start with 2 gold. That's actually not bad. And then here is where you can, this little thing on the right, so if you were looking like this, it's to the right, this little board, just click on it. It shows the fights. Now, let's go get us a fighter and then I'll explain that. So, what you usually want to do is you don't want to hire people. Because from the only people that you want to hire are merchants and like physicians and trainers. That's really it. You don't really want to buy these people. So merchant, buy them, and here they are. So this is what I was talking about. You can go Indepth clothing, for example. We can go like master clothing and armor. We'll just keep it Indepth for now. And then, so what I'll usually do is what I'm doing right now. Check for a merchant and just grab them straight away. And then let's see if we can get a physician if we're lucky enough. Yep, here we go, physician. Very nice. So these guys will eat into our upkeep because we've hired them. But if we recruit someone, they won't eat into our upkeep. They're basically the better option. Like, you don't want to pay for these fighters unless you're like doing beast fights. Just to say if you want to do beast master or beast novice, beast adept, beast expert, whatever it is, then you can buy these guys if you want, or if you just want to buy them, take their gear, then So we'll go to recruit here. There's also records and status, but I don't think this really matters at the moment, to be fair. Like, this is your overall stats, so this kind of matters. This will show you what wins, losses, stuff like that. We'll go to recruit, and we'll be brought to this screen again. Now this guy is like a fighter that we'll use, so we'll call him Orc Thrasher. Now, if we make him muscular, make him tall, this is like usually my favorite kind of loadout. You get what I'm saying, kind of like build to go with, or like fat and tall because it's funny, I guess, or fat and short. But making your character shorter is a disadvantage, and making your character taller is kind of a disadvantage as well, because if you're skinny and you're tall, you can get knocked over really easily, like from big swings and stuff. So like being heavier makes you not fall over as easily, I guess, when you're getting hit, but you'll be slower because of it. Like usually muscular is a good way to go. Average height if you're just starting out, I would say. We'll just do that for the sake of this. Facial hair. Yeah, mutton chops. What a sick dog. Yeah, it's good enough. Right. So, I would recommend that either you, because these are the skills here, I wouldn't grab anything in armor or shields, because like for the first, or if unless you're making a shield character, then go for it, and you have a shield already. But you don't really need anything in armor for like the first 2 tiers. So you can ignore that. You can get more important stuff like these close combat skills. Now, Remias is probably the best one to get if you're starting out, because it lets you do a follow-up attack, and you can just kind of go in the order that you see them. That's all. What I like to do is get Remias, then get Riposte, because Riposte is strong. Out of the weapons we have here, these 4 weapons, I would say that the middle bar is the easiest, then it goes to staff, then it goes cleaver, then it goes hammer. Just in my experience. Because I prefer two-handed weapons because they're way easier, to be fair. I don't like fucking one-handed weapons very much. But you can see here that since you have to hit with the actual part of the weapon, so like say the blade of the cleaver or the head of the hammer here, when you have the metal bar here when you start out, you can just hit with the entirety of this bar. The corner is like the best bit to hit with, obviously, but like with this you gotta hit with the whole side of the cleaver. You gotta make sure you hit with this little bit and you don't hit with your hand. Like, it's a forgiving blade, it's got a lot to it, but the bar is just the easiest. So say if you just want to grab this, I would recommend it if you're starting out, recruit. And there we go, and there's our upkeep for the day. This is what we've spent, this is the money we've got left. And now that we've got a fight, I'll explain this. So standard fights are the basic fights, and you can choose the tier here, but we don't have anyone. We only have an inept guy because he's inept. Specials are, well, special fights, you can't get them in standard fights, but they usually pay out more, and they offer more XP. And then the tournament is only for master characters, but they still, even though they're master, it still has their tier here. So you'll have if you put a master into this fight, he'll go in with inept gear, and then aspirant, novice, adept, expert, and master respectively for this tier. And then if you win majority, so like say if you win these 4 and then 2 other companies win either one of this, you will win the tournament, get the sword. And then how this affects the season is that if you win all 4 of these, you get this sick ass suit of armor, all of it, for free, I guess. If you win all of the tournaments in a season, you have to win every single one. You can't win 3 and then lose this one. You have to win all 4. So keep that in mind. But with that said, I'll explain all of the ones here, because it gives a basic description. So like a duel, you just fight another person and then you get out. There's doubles, which is just like if you have an AI person that you've hired from this board on the left, you can put them in here. Skirmish is like teams are free. Then there's Fray, where 6 fighters go into a thing and it's last man standing. Then there's Reserve, and then Pugilism. Now Reserve, you need 3 of your own people, and I'm gonna cut you a lot of hours and save you a lot of time. Unless you just want to like do one-on-one fight, well, even if you want to do one-on-one fights, Reserve is the best for XP. Consistently, that is. In Fray, if you can kill every other person, you'll make more XP, because it goes off by kills, and how you rank up in the things is by getting XP, obviously. So, Fray is good, you can see. It gives me 2 coins for... So 3 copper coins for entry, 2 silver as a prize if I win. Reserve, 3 but 4 silver. 3 copper, 4 silver. So it's a big payout. It gives you the most XP consistently, because in Fray I find that usually I end up killing 2, 3, if I'm lucky 4 people. So then I would, if I get 4 kills, I'd get more XP than I would in Reserve. But on average, I get more kills in Reserve. So in this, the really only ones that are worth it are Fray, Reserve, and Pugilism. And the thing about Pugilism is it doesn't make you much money. It's only a one-on-one fight, so you don't make that much XP. But what it's used for is, if I can get an example, rightio. So now that I've gone ahead and lost that fight, you can see here that there is 2 kinds of health states, or well, 3 technically. There's like when your health bar is completely yellow. There's like when you've got red health, which this health won't regenerate until you either end day, well, only when you end day, or is in the dungeon crawler you drink like a potion. And then the 3rd health state is like dead, I guess. And this will creep along as you take slash damage. So when you get hit with a slash weapon, then I kind of, even with crush weapons, just anything that will like hit your skin, basically, will do this red damage as well as the damage it will do on top. So it does a lot of damage, it hurts. It builds up, and when this red bar goes all the way over, that's when you die. And a physician helps get rid of that more. But say if we end day, you can still see that we have some left. So where Pugilism comes in, is that you can take this guy in, or you can take your, what I like to do is take my arena manager, which is the guy in the yellow name, and you can just do these, which are fist fights, because they will get your health back, and you don't take red damage from these things. Unless someone does like a really good uppercut on you, there's no way that you're gonna fucking lose red health in these. Like, yeah, see, I just took damage there, and I only took like just a little bit, like no red damage, just only a little bit of damage. Now these are more kind of boring, obviously, you know, like throwing around mad weapons, but at the start it's helpful to know. All of these guys, say they've all got half health, you've ended the day, you have 3 of them, and they've still got this little bit, and you don't want to risk them dying, because maybe you just started and you don't think that you can win, or maybe they have even less, like they've got red up to here, for example. You can spam these fights, still make money, and cover the upkeep cost. And you get more money as the tiers go down. But spam these, cover the income costs, and pass fights without taking red health, so when you end day, you can keep getting rid of it, for example. But so if we look here in that's basically standard summarized, I would say. But specials here are the only ones that I kind of pay attention to are challenger fights and eliminations. Eliminations are like 5, as it says, 5 joules. It gives you the most XP. but you don't always see them for the tier that you want. But we got lucky in this case. But yeah, eliminations give you the most. Beast fights are fun, but they're also kind of dangerous. But they're fun, don't be scared of doing them. Because you have to take 2 other AI people in. So you can kind of let them get smacked up and let them get flung around. It's good fun. But like, if you want to spice things up, go ahead and do the others. You don't have to be efficient all the time. I'm just explaining for those who want to get past the arena grind. That should be arena summarized pretty much, besides from how the gear system works, which I'll go into real quick. So when you click manage in here, you'll see that you have this kind of slider, and you can see the points. So inept, aspirant, novice, adept, expert, master. And obviously that's where the gear kind of coincides. Only certain tiers can use certain gear, so you can't take this into an inept fight, and then this weapon, which is novice. So it has its points here, and its tier. Right, yeah. So with the dungeon crawler, there's a few playable ones. There's a 3rd one that I've unlocked when I had it on GOG, and there's gonna be a 4th one coming. But yeah, at the moment there's 3. The best one usually is to go unknown. I feel it's just more fun that way. And if you play it, you'll see why. Because sadly, this one and the 3rd one don't have the cool part of the dungeon crawler. Let's just go unknown. But say we just make our guy Orc Basher. And yeah, this is good enough. He's a ranger. He's whatever. Clove him out. I don't start with much. I've got global experience from my other characters, but basically you wouldn't have global experience. You would be able to put on 1 skill point to learn. You wouldn't start off with a skill. But when you come to this, you can choose what power you want to learn first. This is like the magic of the game. The mind magic, so we'll just do confusion or calm. Doesn't really matter, unless you want to like it does matter. Because whatever you want to do, if you want to like confuse the AI and like make them fight each other, if you want to calm them and make them like your friend and stuff. But for this, like what I'm doing, it does. Come on, get up. Right, he's up, and this is the starting room of the dungeon. You want to take this torch. Ignore this skill plus. You wouldn't have this. I have it because I have global experience on other characters. And so keybinds you want to keep in mind are P for the magic skill tree, and then this goes up with your 1, 2, and 3 keybinds. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kind of like 0, I guess, not 10. K are these skills. I is this. J is for the journal if you want to like do roleplay stuff or whatnot, or just keep notes even. It can be useful if you want to keep notes of like where you've been. There's like no map. You kind of like have to find maps as items, which is cool. But in this room, what a lot of people usually don't know is that there's a few weapons around here, like this metal spike, which I like to bring along. There's a shield in here, which is like a lid. See if I can find in all the clutter. But these table legs here, you like throw them around. That's a plank. This is a table leg weapon with debris. It's kind of whatever. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is the shield here. But obviously with the shield we can't see. But it will keep you nice and safe. It's a big shield. You see the stats on it. Not even that bad. I don't want to spoil too much because most of the fun from the dungeon crawler comes from you exploring the rooms. But I'll explain the basics of it. Because a lot of the basics you can kind of see in the arena, like the combat and that. Alrighty, I've got a character here. Progress a little bit in the dungeon. Got some items you can see here, like these boxes which can contain stuff, keys, spears, just whatever. There's just items, little items here and there that I like to keep with me for my little journey. Got some gear on, it's whatever. These are the healing salves I'm talking about. There's only a few in the game, so you want to pick them up and save them and use them. So see this red health? If I were to, I think I've already used one maybe? No. But say if I were to do this, I double click and I click on myself. It'll heal me. and then if you double click it and then click on a companion, that's how you can heal a companion. But say this orb here, what these do, some people don't know, especially if you're new on. Say I've got this rusty piece, this chest piece right here, it's rusty, and I want it to be full condition. I double click the orb, you click on it, and you can see that it becomes all nice and shiny. And look at that, it's brand new. There's quite a few of these in the game, so you don't have to be all I have to save them. You can use them on gear pieces if you want, but I like to save them and then put them on something. There's very good videos by people who are really good at the game. They like explain them, and this wouldn't be the right weapon for it. I have to go switch back. But for example here, it's kind of hard to do against these dummies because the arms. I might just spin around. Yeah, like this. So imagine this guy was looking directly towards me. I could like kind of get it. I'll probably have to get a video example, but imagine that there's a guy here. I like put my weapon behind his back and then I like spin, so like that. And what that does is it flings them and then you get an overhead like that. It's kind of hard to imagine. I'll have a few clips come up. There's also stuff like we crouch on someone's back with a shield and put the shield on their back so they can't get up. That's also good. That's like a thing that you have to like all manually control. It's not like an animation that's preset into the game. You have to control it, which is very cool. There's also stuff where you like punch people with shields as well. You like do a swing and then you like kind of turn into it. Because in this game, when you do a swing, it's a normal thing like this. You'll do damage, but because it's like physics based and it's all kind of cool like that. If you turn into your swings and swing into them hard, they'll be harder to block and they'll do more damage. So you see, when I do these, I kind of bring it to the right, so he turns into it like that. Instead of just this, turns into it way more, does way more damage, like that. And the same goes for overhead. So for this, I would like drag it to like, so say if I was looking like this, straight ahead, and I wanted to do a left side swing all the way to the right, drag all the way through. I would drag it to kind of about like to the right of like the toes. So I'd do like that. You don't want to like overextend it and go all the way around, because then you expose your back. You got to practice it, and you don't want to turn too far, because then you leave your back exposed again. So you got to get a nice full thrust, so you can actually turn into thrusts. So it's kind of tricky, but if you go like this and then turn into it like that, so you look to the right, thrust, and then like push it up and turn. The timing's really finite, but you can do it and you can get way more damage off like that. So you can combine this with like movement, so you can like strafe around them and then hit them like one of those if you don't miss it like me. Is like you can just stab like this, like thrust like that, and it'll still do damage. But if you do it like this, it'll do way more. Especially if you hit it in the head, it could be an insta kill. You can do it for overheads as well. You can do it for all the basic attacks. So overheads are a bit tricky when you do like this because they get harder to aim. I'm still kind of learning it, but like that's just a normal overhead, right? But if you like bring it up to like where, like if your character looks straight and you like bring it just like near the top of your screen, and then you like drag it down to the right or like to the left, it kind of depends where they are, but you can do it like that. And I guess while I'm here talking about overheads, I'll talk about how to deal with people's shields, because that's more kind of advanced stuff. You want like, obviously you want to like move around them, but there's a few tricks you could use. You can crouch mid-swing, so you swing and then crouch, and you'll hit them in the legs, or you can delay the crouch even more. You don't want to delay it too much, because then you end up like hitting the top of their shield and being crouched, and then they can just overhead you. It's a really bad spot to be in. You like want to be coming out of the crouch once you hit it, if you kind of get what I'm saying. So very quick, just tap X mid-swing. Because X is the crouch. You can do the same for overheads and kind of crouch into them while you do like a big, like that. But yeah, you kind of fall over. That's the issue with it. But if it's someone on the ground, you could do that and get a lot of overhead damage, but you might just fall onto them. You gotta like watch out. A thing for shields as well that's good, I find, is that just left swings, because they hold the shield on their right. Left swings are very good for shields. What else? What else is there? Oh yeah, you can use the Remise skill, which is this one, if you forgot. You can walk back and do a right swing, and then come forward with a left swing. But you don't want to like, you want to make sure you got like the length of your weapon figured out, so you know how much you have to step back and how much you have to step forward to hit it properly. Where you're going to be aiming that left swing as well. If you're going to be hitting in the head, or if you're trying to hit him in the leg from the left. It's like this, and okay, so like we do like this, and then this, come in like that. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more you can do with crouch combat, and I could probably link a guide on Steam or something, because a lot of people make guides about this game. They're very passionate about it, and they like the game a lot. Cool game. Good community. They have a Discord that you can join as well if you want to ask more questions there. Like even that advanced stuff I was talking about where you flip them over, that's not even for beginners. That's like into me. Like that's just tricky stuff to pull off. I struggle with it. Like, you know, getting the weapon behind them and then flinging them. It's tricky stuff. But for a beginner, I would say just get your movement down. Practice doing the attacks with movement. Incorporate different attacks, don't just spam just like right and left side. Mix it up. Look for openings and stuff. Check out the skills and experiment yourself to see like which skills you like and how you can use them. Because there's a lot you can do. But just keep in mind in this game, they call parrying like basically just like blocking the attack. Keep that in mind. But you can like hit their weapon. If you like, say if they're swinging from the right and you're swinging from the left, you can hit their weapon away. I've done it a couple of times. You can hit their weapon away, and then you can get like a good overhead in, like that. It's tricky to do. It's not easy to pull off, but it can be rewarding if you get it. But I'll just stick to trying to dodge attack with movement, and then using movement to also increase your damage, so like turning into your attacks. You know, you don't want to go too out of control. If you want to have control, so you can, because if you go like too much like this, you start spinning out and you're not able to block and stuff, because you block with your weapon, so you would be here and they just hit you in the back, as I said earlier. So I'm going to put the bucket on the head.
Yeah, that's good, Doug.
Dude, what's going on with my guy's fucking leg? My guy's leg is like fucked. What the fuck is going on? He's just constantly falling over. He's fucked. He's fucked. What's he doing? Okay,